Welcome, volleyball fans on the campus of Missouri Baptist University. I'm Coach K, and I'm joined by my guest, head coach Chris Nichols. We're going to recap what had to be one of the greatest seasons in Spartan volleyball history, the 2020-2021 season. It was incredibly long and incredibly fun. So, Chris, welcome. You guys started off 2019, you finished 5th at Nationals. Had to be a little disappointing. You did lose to Marion, but what were your expectations coming into the crazy COVID year in September?
Yeah, we knew we had a good team. We returned a lot of that team, and we had a couple new kids coming in that were really good. So our expectation was to try to compete for the national championship. We felt like we had the athletes to do it. The uncertainty of COVID, we didn't know if we were going to be able to do it.
That was the real challenge. We had no spectators. We had masks. We had temperature checks. It had to be hard, and the testing protocol was something you had to live with.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, all year, the season went all the way from August till May, so it was a really, really long year. A lot of testing in there, a lot of uncertainty, but we navigated our way the best we could.
You certainly did. The big transfer was Manu Vargas coming in from Columbia, and we'll get to her in a little bit as it turned out to be a rather unique situation. But she came in early, and she couldn't play in conference matches in the fall, and that was the expectation that you had starting into the season. So you had to share the setting duties between Shannon and Manu Vargas.
Yeah, and Shannon, real quick before we go on to Manu, was unbelievable as a freshman. And our future looks really bright with her. We were very happy with what Shannon did, and Manuela. We were able to bring her in the spring, and so she kind of got.
And that's what happened.
And she kind of got to know our system and all that. So we felt really good going into the fall that she went through a full spring.
So the fall season, you lose your first match of the season on the road to a Midland team, and that's a real foretelling. Who knew at the time that would be your final opponent of the season? So that was back on September 5th. But then you started winning matches. You wound up 10-1 and 6-0 in the conference. So you were in a really good position. You did have some matches postponed to the spring that were conference matches.
Yeah, we did. And go back to that match at the beginning of the year, that's something that we do with Grandview and Viterbo and Midland. The last couple of years we got together and we played, and I knew right then that Midland was going to be special. They beat us into 5 sets, and their defense and serving and passing was unbelievable. So I know that they hit some bumps in the road, as everybody did with the code, and I kind of knew that they would be there at the end, or at least be a team that was pushing us at nationals. So I wasn't surprised when we saw them later on.
Yeah, that was the irony of it all. So you did sweep Columbia 3-0 on the road. So as I said, you were 6-0. Then you go into the spring schedule. You win your first 4 matches with a 3-0 sweep of Columbia at home. But then you have the 1-month COVID gap from February 24th to March 22nd. What was that like? And that involved some cases on your team.
Yeah, it was very tough. At that point, I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to continue on. We had some cases in our own team, and it affected basically a lot of our athletics, but more anything than our team. And we weren't for sure if we were going to continue on or not. And we decided to go for it. And when we went back,
good decision.
Yeah, it was a good decision. When we went back out, we only actually had 1 practice before we returned to play, and we played Ottawa, and Ottawa beat us pretty good.
Yeah, March 22nd, you get swept on the road by a good Ottawa team, but certainly a bit of an upset. But then you crush William Woods. I want to give those scores: 25-14, 25-16, 25-7. And that was on March 30th. So you're 7-0, you're in first place in the conference. You're looking like you're going to host the conference tournament. And then things get a bit controversial. We won't go into too much detail other than to say, thank you, AMC. You picked up a couple of forfeits, so you wound up 2nd in the conference at 7-2, even though you really were 9-0. But they didn't change the bracket, so you still hosted all the way through in the conference tournament. Talk about that little moment in time in this roller coaster season.
It was interesting to say the least. They held up a rule that didn't have really a ruling to it, and then they held up, but then they didn't change the seeding, is why we hosted. Either way, it is what it is. It gave us motivation. It helped us into where we were, and
it certainly all worked out in the end. Indeed, you play Columbia. and beat them 3-0. It was a tight 25-22, 25-20, 25-23 at home. But that gives you the bid, and we wanted to give a shout out. Shannon McLean had to play in all of those AMC matches due to the ruling on Manu. She gets 41 assists, puts you back into the national tournament. Again, your 12th appearance.
Yeah, I mean, in that AMC tournament, you know, we felt like we had the best two setters in the AMC. And I think they proved that.
And one could play.
And only one could play. But hey, one got setter of the year.
That's
and the one that played didn't.
That's exactly
so
right.
They were both pretty good.
Exactly. So now we get to the national championship. You easily handle Milliken as a advanced to Sioux City match. They did change the tournament this year, only 24 teams instead of 32, as in the past. So that created a little bit of a challenge as your pool with IU, Kokomo, and Kaiser. It's a must-win pool to get to the quarterfinals. And Kaiser certainly had a lofty record. You did beat them 3-1, you beat Kokomo 3-0. So you get into the national championship. So what are you thinking at that point? You've got Grandview lined up as your quarterfinal opponent.
I didn't like it because Grandview's really good every year, and I know that the outside that they have on the kid that they have on the outside is a Division I transfer. She's very good. Grandview is battle tested. They've been to the tournament, like you mentioned. We were there 12 times. I think they've been there just as much, if not more. So I knew drawing Grandview in that quarterfinal match would be very, very tough, and it was. Yeah,
you take care of it, and of course it's the beginning of the streak of 3-2 wins. You beat Grandview in 5 sets. Lattimore with 16 kills and 11 digs, Dodd with 8 block assists, and Vargas, she's just getting warmed up, 45 assists and 18 digs. So those three were key in that matchup.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest key in that matchup, someone that's not on the stat sheet, the biggest key in that whole matchup is Liz Holland.
Off the bench.
We cannot stop the All-American outside, and we're down 2 sets to nothing. And Giovanna, who's our player of the year, our right side, is struggling to really shut down that outside. And we put Liz in, and we said, Liz, we need you to go down and slow that kid down. And Liz goes in, and Liz totally changes the whole match for us. It allows G to kind of see on the sidelines. Sometimes when you're on the sidelines and you get to watch it, you kind of get to sit next to a coach and go through it. She got to see things differently, and she went back in the 5th set, and G was a big difference maker. But the reason why we beat Grandview is what Liz goes in and does in the 2nd and 3rd set.
And that's a match that I was unable to watch. I did get to watch the next two because now you draw Dordt in the semifinals. And I'll tell you what, I thought Dordt was maybe the 2nd best team in the tournament. We never got to see Jamestown, who was the #1 ranked team, because Midland knocked them out. But you do defeat Dordt 15-13 in the deciding set. Vargas now 50 assists and 25 digs. Tabigliani 21 kills. And then you have to mention Sarah Klunder, 12 kills, 2 solo blocks, 4 block assists, and Macias 27 digs. So those are some of the stars of that matchup with Dordt. But boy, that was a back and forth one, because you kept trading sets. Actually, no, you won the first 2 and then lost 2 in a row, so the momentum was all with Dordt.
Yeah, it was kind of opposite of what happened in the quarterfinal against Grandview. You know, we came out playing really, really well and we won the first 2 sets. A little bit of feeding as the underdog off the crowd. You know, they had about the place was packed. You know,
yeah, they're local.
There had to be 3,000 or 4,000, and they were all for Dordt. You know, with maybe our little section of 10 people. But we were playing really well, and then we had a 10-minute intermission. And we're feeling good, and everything's going well. They made a couple adjustments on us that were really good, and they won sets 3 and 4, and we had to regroup. Again, Liz went in for Isadora, our other All-American outside, and Liz again kind of gave us a spark there at the end of set 4 and let us go in. So Liz was pretty important in those matches, coming off the bench and giving our kids a little bit of rest and maybe a little bit different perspective. But like you said, watching the field as I was scouting out the field early on in pool play, I knew Midland was tough. The other team was Dordt that I saw. Dordt is huge. They're big across the net everywhere, and they're a really, really good blocking team, so I knew that they would give us some fits. And it was a fun match to be a part of, and we were happy to pull that one out.
And then ironically, you played Midland. You played them way back on September the 5th and lose in 5, but now you get them in an epic 5-setter, and that one goes back and forth. You lose the first, win the second handily. lose a 26-24 third set, then come back 25-19, 15-12 to take your first ever national championship. Some stats from that one: Tapigliani, 22 kills, Stoyevich, 16 kills. Dodd sets a record for blocks, 2 solo blocks and 13 block assists. Macias, 28 digs, and then Vargas, why not, 51 assists and 18 digs, on her way to the MVP for the national championship.
Yeah, it was pretty special. You know, that match, and really not just that match. I mean, we go to the Grandview, the Dordt, and the match.
All three too.
But y'all had to win them in different ways.
Yes.
The team had to win them in different ways, and they had to play different styles of volleyball. And I think that's the most impressive thing for me looking back is, you know, Dordt is a big physical team at the net, and that's a lot of front row blocking, attacking, a lot of power game, more like a men's volleyball match in that one. Then you go to the national championship game against Midland, and that is all serving and passing a great defense. We were able to kind of alter our game and play a couple different ways and find ways to win those games. To be honest with you, you know, you're down in set 1, and I'm looking at the stats, and we're winning every single category. We're out blocking them, we're out acing them.
Well, that's why it was 25-23.
And you know, you're kind of scratching your head saying, hey, how did we lose that one? So then the second set goes, and we played really, really well in the second set, and we dominated in the stats.
Yeah, 25-15.
Yeah.
Actually, 25-14.
14. So we go in the 10-minute intermission, and I'm talking to the team and the coaches, and we're looking through the stats, and we feel strongly that we should be up 2-0. Again, we're kind of like a away team. Midland's only about an hour and a half from where we were, so they have a whole lot of fans. And we go out in the third set, and it's very similar to the first set. We lose a close third set.
26-24.
And when we look at the overall stats again, we feel like we should be the national championship after 3 sets. That's the reason why I bring that up, is that's tough for the kids.
Yes.
The kids were playing really, really well, and here we are sitting down 1-2 in the national championship game with fans against us. It would have been very, very easy for us to crumble. And if you recall right, we did crumble in the beginning of the fourth set.
Yeah, you started slow in that third set and came from behind.
Fourth set.
Came from behind in that fourth set.
So we're down 7-2, and I use a timeout. And then I'm sorry, I think it was 6-2, and I use a timeout. And then I use another one at 10-5, and we have no energy. The only points that we have scored at this point have been basically off their errors. They have all the momentum. And I'm sitting there and I'm having flashbacks of 2015 when we lost the national championship game of we're done. And like I said, a lot of that it goes to, you know, the kids have played so hard in these fifth set matches in the quarterfinals and the semis, and they've just played well for 3 sets, and they're down 1-2, and the crowd's on them again, and it was really easy for them to kind of turn it in there. So we took a timeout at 10-5. And we decided that we were going to leave Giovanna and Izzy in the game, who don't normally play back row. And they've been our All-Americans, and they got us to those points. As I mentioned earlier, Liz had went in and kind of gave them some spells and kept them fresh for moments like these. And I just told them if we're gonna go down, we're gonna go down swinging. I wanted them to stay in and swing out of the back row and do everything. And Manu had some words of encouragement in that timeout. And we went out and we played unbelievable volleyball after that timeout. And I'm not saying that's a credit to me. I'm saying it's a credit to the kids buying into we're just going to refuse to lose in this situation.
I remember that second timeout at 10-5, and I remember you staying with your more experienced players. You had been using Hanushi, but she's just a freshman, and you decided to just leave Isadora in there. And I thought that was a great move, and I posted that on Volley Talk at the time. Coach Nichols going with his more experienced players under the gun, and it worked. So that is on you, Coach. I'll give you a little fist bump on that one. So you win the national championship, and you're named the national championship coach of the year, and Vargas the national championship MVP. And then you do start to pick up the postseason honors. Tapigliani, first team All-American, very justified. Stoyevich, Dodd, and Cohen, they're all third team All-American. Vargas, as you told me when we were talking before today, not eligible, or otherwise I think she's part of the All-American team, probably a first-team All-American in my mind. And, of course, Macias is overlooked because she's one of the best liberos. But liberos don't get much love. I looked over the All-American list. Very few liberos make the All-American list.
And you're right, very few make the list. But also, we are a very good blocking team and a very efficient side-out team. Ari's not getting many chances to dig second chances.
That's true.
You know, so not only is she one of the best liberos in the country. She's on one of the best teams in the country that aren't giving her a ton of opportunities because they're so efficient in what they do. So Ari understands it, and I think that sure she would like awards just like everybody else, but she's a team first kid, and she'll take that championship trophy any day.
And then the other awards, to Pigliani, the academic player of the year, and Stoyevich also academic All-American, and Klunder, the national freshman of the year. So a terrific season for all those players. And I want to mention one quote that you said in your interview after the match. All players since 2005 have contributed to this national championship. This was your 12th appearance and first national championship. That was exactly the same for Team USA in the Olympics and getting the gold medal. That was their 12th appearance and first gold medal. So there must be something of magic about that 12th appearance. But congratulations on that. We do want to mention a little summer fun. Your High V11 Royal team, you win the bronze in Las Vegas in the 11 national division. So congratulations on that. And then we do want to give a shout out to Team USA and the other Coach K, Coach March. Pretty good job winning the gold medal. So I had it on here, 6 of 7 starters back, but I walk in the gym and here's Isadora Stoyevich. So Stoyevich is back, so all 7 starters back. So you're going to have a huge target on your backs this season. You start in Florida August 19th through the 21st. First home match, Lincoln Christian on September the 8th. I've got your slogan for this year, Coach. I'm going to put down my paper. So it's TIO. You know what TIO stands for, Coach?
No, I'm letting you tell me.
2 in 1. You have a chance, you in Kentucky have a chance to win 2 college national championships in the same year. So TIO for your Missouri Baptist Spartans. Coach Nichols, congratulations on the national championship. I'm Coach K. Thanks for recapping it with us, folks. Go Spartans.